Inequality. It's what makes us all unequal. It's what makes the world based off size different from the world based off money. It's what makes the 62 richest people have the same wealth as half the population of the world. It's what makes the top 1% have more than half the world's income. That's why we'll be explaining the 5 reasons of inequality. One of the causes of inequality is colonization. Colonization is when a country takes over the land, the people, and the resources of a land that has previously been claimed and inhabits a group of people. One example of this is the European colonization of Africa. This was when European countries divided Africa into different colonized lands. This was one of the worst times in history, and in total caused over 50 million Africans to be killed. And this has caused massive amounts of inequality. And in total, Europe took about $1 quadrillion worth of work and resources from Africa. Just imagine a much more superior military coming, killing anyone they wanted, taking your land, forcing you to work, and stealing all your resources. This is how colonization has caused a massive amount of inequality worldwide. Another form of inequality is automation. A long time ago, everything was made by hand. And now robots are taking over. This creates a massive loss of jobs, causing inequality everywhere. Another form of inequality is your physical geography. Let's do an example with Canada.
The country of Canada is around 3,854,000 square miles in size, second only to Russia's 6,592,000 square miles. For such a large country, it only uses about 10% of its land. Why? Because the land is either cold or covered in water. This article from the Huffington Post does a good job of explaining how empty Canada really is. Also, people would like to live near a fairly rich country for business purposes. Simply put, money. So, a country will want to have their own resources so they won't have to spend money importing from other countries. Does Canada have its own resources? You bet! An estimated 7 to 9% of Canada's land is covered by fresh water, and as you can see, they have easy access to salt water as well. Canada has 10% of the world's forests, and this 10% covers around 50% of Canada's total land, so wood isn't a problem either.
This shows how your physical geography can give you an advantage or disadvantage. If you have lots of resources and agricultural land, then you have a greater advantage than a country that doesn't have that. This is how your physical geography can create inequality around the world. Another form of inequality is economic changes.
Economic changes are the shifts and alterations in the basic ways a market economy functions. It can either increase, sustain, or deplete the strength of the economy. These changes can be caused by factors such as economic development, global shifts in capital and labor, changes in resource availability due to war, natural disasters, discovery or depletion of natural resources, and changes in the political system. The changes don't only affect the country's residents and economy, it can also change the lives of people halfway across the world, due to a chain reaction set off by one alteration in the global economy.
One of the last factors of inequality is globalization.
What is globalization? Toyota cars are made by a Japanese corporation, but the chassis of the car are made in England, the engines in Wales, the tires in Japan, the wiring in China, the seatbelts in the Czech Republic, and the headlights in France. Like many goods that we're familiar with, these cars are manufactured in a number of different places in the world. This is an expression of globalization. In 1986, global trade reached a scope of approximately $2,000 billion US, and 10 years later, it reached 5,200 billion US dollars. As a result of this 260% increase, foreign-made products that were rarely seen in countries around the world prior to globalization became a common sight. Globalization is much more than international trade, global chains, and cheap goods. Globalization is a process where countries around the world are becoming closer in a number of areas. It influences people, immigration, employment, ideas, and knowledge.
Globalization can cause equality by allowing products and goods to be available globally, but can also cause inequality by having countries exploit each other for resources and cheap labor. And don't worry, because that's not the end. Inequality, the movie, is coming soon to a theater near you.
Days are cold and the cards all fold, and the saints we see are all made of gold. When your dreams all fail and the